honestly terrified for my camera right now because of the whole camera setup that I've got going on. It's ridiculous. Hey guys, my name is Tamara and today I thought I'd do a really quick video about how I made my Gambol Shroud for Blake Belladonna from the web series RWBY. So this video is very much just going to give you the materials that I used, any advice that I could give you, tips and tricks, and if there is anything different that I would do if I was going to make my Gambol Shroud again. So this is my Gambol Shroud. It is pretty long. It's to the kind of measurements that's to my body size, and it's also really lightweight, which is quite important for me because I like lightweight props. I don't like something that's going to be heavy to bring along with me to a convention. So the base of my Gambol Shroud is actually made from styrofoam. I think that's what we call it here. It's either styrofoam or polystyrene. This is both really good to work with and also really awkward to work with that I found. This is actually my first time working with this stuff. You can get this stuff, you can probably buy it online. I actually used it from the packaging of a treadmill that we bought a couple of weeks ago. So the problems that I found whilst I was working with it was, because it's so thick, it's really difficult to get my craft knife sort of into it to break it up. So I did end up having to sort of make the indentations and then just break it apart as I go along. It also made a lot of mess. Like, for a week I was just finding bits of polystyrene everywhere. There are still bits of polystyrene all over my floor right now and it's a bit ridiculous. But because it was so lightweight, I felt like it was a really good material to use for the base of the Gambol Shroud, and it actually ended up working surprisingly well. I'm really surprised with how well it worked. Pro tip, if you are using a craft knife, please for the love of God be careful, because if you cut yourself with a craft knife, specifically here, it will hurt like hell. So originally with my Gambol Shroud I was actually going to mod rock the entire thing, glue it together and do craft foam details, but that didn't really end up working. What I found with using mod rock was every layer that I added on, it just made it heavier and heavier and heavier, especially the sword piece of the Gambol Shroud. So what I ended up doing after all that time mod rocking was I took the sword end, took all the mod rock off that layer, and I craft foamed the entire sword piece. Whilst with the hilt I kept the mod rock on it, I kept it so it'd be more stable, and that actually ended up working really well. So obviously this entire piece, these two were made separately by the way, I should probably mention that, is made out of the styrofoam and is just completely covered with craft foam on the sides, on the back and on the front, most obviously. Next thing I did is I primed the entire thing with wood glue. Now I know a lot of cosplayers will do wood glue mixed with water, and I have tried that in the past, but personally I just didn't think it worked as well as just straight up using wood glue. And I found personally that this technique works really well for me. It may not work for everyone else, but I prefer it. After that I just used acrylic paint, I just painted the entire thing. Maybe it would have been easier if I used spray paint, but hey ho, it still worked really well. I liked how the paint job came out. So any tips that I would give for anyone else thinking about or currently making their Gambol Shroud? Definitely have some form of measurement. Do all your measurements on like a piece of paper, figure out how long you want it, how thick you want it, etc, etc. Because I promise you, when you actually go to make it, that's going to make everything so much easier. So once again, coming back to the craft knife thing, always be careful with a craft knife. They are so like dangerous, and obviously like everything else in cosplay. And if you do cut yourself, it will hurt like a bitch. That's one way I can put it, and that's one way I am going to put it. Figure out what materials you want to work with that you can work with. If I was to do this again, I would potentially use wood. I would make potentially a wooden hilt and the wooden sword piece, but obviously what materials you choose very much depends on your skill level, what you're comfortable with working with, and also what sort of resources that you have that you can use that prop with those materials. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it somewhat helped to explain how I made my Gambol Shroud. I know it wasn't a full explanation, but it was very much just a sort of guide to how I made my Gambol Shroud. If you have any tips that you have for making props, then do put them down in the comments. I do appreciate any form of advice I can get for prop making, as I'm not very good at it. My Gambol Shroud was my first prop that I've made, and to be honest, for being my first prop, I'm actually quite proud of it. Hopefully it won't be the last prop I make. I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. Because I'm burning a candle. Pomegranate scented candle, to be precise. Oh shit! We good, we good. I'm not allowed to do props. I like chucked it up and it hit the ceiling. Oh my god. It's fine, it's fine, it's just... It's fine, you know what, I'm gonna put this down now. I'm a mistake. Oh dear.